Cunningham.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker, and I'm very pleased to have the opportunity to speak on this private member's bill brought forward by the member for Farrer, and to acknowledge that this is not a partisan-based debate. In fact, there are people from both sides of the House who seek to support this bill. And I do understand why, Deputy Speaker. In my own area, I've had over 1,600 individual constituents email me with their great distress and concern about what is happening in this industry. And I'm sure many of my colleagues around the chamber have had similar levels. In fact, I've never seen that level of engagement on any issue during the time that I've been here. In total, it's over 4,800 emails, so it is the case that some people have emailed me on more than one occasion. Generally speaking, when they've seen a first round of reports in the media and images that have caused them distress, and then when they see that repeated. And I think that's what's taken its toll on people's patience with this particular aspect of the industry. And so I want to acknowledge each and every one of those individuals, many of whom took the time to write quite extensive personal comments into the email about why they felt that this live sheep long haul, particularly in the summer months in the Northern Hemisphere, had to stop. There is no doubt, I don't know that anybody could have seen the vision that was reported, including, I know, many in the farming industry, who would have looked at that vision and felt that it was a completely unacceptable reflection of what, as a modern nation, we should see as an acceptable part of the industry sector. And so, of course, the member for Farrer, and I'm sure she certainly thought long and hard about bringing this. She's a country-based member herself, and I acknowledge that. So I have no doubt that it wasn't lightly that she brought this private member's bill before this parliament, and it certainly has my support, as it has Labor's support. It would be good, I think, if we could actually, in keeping with the expressed clear wishes of our, certainly my community, bring this particular bill to a vote. I think it would be the view of all of those over 1,600 who've emailed me for my electorate that we actually have a vote on this and address the issue. But of course, we require an absolute majority to bring the vote forward, and we would require government members to cross the floor to enable that process to happen. And to date, there hasn't been an indication that that would be supported, but I do think it is the will of many communities, and most certainly mine, that we get on with actually voting on these issues. A particular round of the emails that I got came in after the McCarthy review was completed and reported, and there is a lot of frustration in what people feel is the science that was laid out in that and the recommendations that were made. And indeed, the Prime Minister did say that he wanted to take a science-based approach to this very difficult issue, but he's actually ignored the advice of the Australian Veterinary Association and the RSPCA, and we haven't seen the response that I think the community expects to the McCarthy review, and that's certainly the feedback I've had very, very strongly. It is Labor's view that we need to have a plan in place to transition the industry, not just to stop the transport of the sheep in these conditions, but to also support and transition the industry into a more viable method of production, and that includes our strategic red meat industry plan to help farmers make that transition to sustain profitability and viability, but to recognise this industry has lost the support of the Australian community. They do not see the component of that involves sheep being treated in the way that we've seen as in any way acceptable, and they have my support, Mr Deputy Speaker.